Thank you for joining us here at Reunion Resort, Orlando, Florida. I'm Jeff Carreira, Vice President, National Golf Schools, here with Tom Fleetwood, Director of Instruction for Central Florida Operations.
Okay, when you're practicing sand, as silly as this sound, don't practice into the wind. Find another day. Okay? I mean, I know that sounds silly, but you'd be surprised how many people don't think of that. Okay? Yeah, really. There you go. Now, when I teach sand, just like we said yesterday in chipping, just get it somewhere on the green. If it gets close, it's a bonus. In the sand, just get it out. Okay? Because if you hit a shot and it only goes there and stops or maybe even rolls back down, you're going to walk up here mumbling under your breath, oh, I'm not very good at this, blah, blah, blah. Staring at the same club you just flubbed, how much confidence do you have? Even if you pick the ball clean and it goes in the grass over there, you probably have more confidence chipping out of that grass than out of the sand and uphill, probably even in a footprint going uphill for it to stop, okay? So number one rule is just get it out, okay? Now, like we just talked about in the putting, not too many people practice putting. Okay? How many people at your club do you see go into a sand trap before they tee off? Like none? Okay? If they happen to go in the trap, it's not for very long. But even if you do go in the trap and spend some time in there before you tee off, you might not trap until the 13th hole. That's 3 hours later. So if you change everything, the angles and everything, and intentionally try to hit behind it, all that kind of stuff, what are the odds you're going to have the feeling of all that practice 3 hours later for one swing at it, okay? So what I teach is don't change anything, okay? Treat it like any other shot on a golf course. This is just different terrain. If this were all grass, okay, mown grass and everything, you wouldn't be opening your stance wide open, trying to hit 2 inches behind it, trying to cut across it. You just chip it onto the green, okay? So here I try and get my students to treat it like any other shot. Any other shot, and you'll probably never hear another pro tell you this part about sand, but in every other shot, like on the middle of the fairway, you try to hit the ball first, right? Hit the ball first here, and then take a divot after, just like you do on the grass. Don't pick it clean. Try and hit the ball first and hit it after. I know everyone tells you hit it fat, okay? Thing is, you're preset to hit it fat. So why are you trying to hit it fat? Okay? Because on the fairway, your feet are level with the ball. So if you make a nice arc with your arms, you should arrive at the base of the ball. Okay? But in the sand, when you wiggle in to get your footing, you sink below the level of the ball. Now don't choke up just because that's what the books say. Okay? And I always tell people, just because something was said in a book doesn't make it gospel. It's just somebody's opinion. I say hold it where you hold a normal fairway shot, okay, which for me is, choking up a ½ inch or so all the time, okay? Now, if I sink 2 inches below the ball and I try to hit the ball, theoretically I should hit 2 inches behind it so the arc can go 2 inches under at the level of my feet and 2 inches in front of it. So you're preset to hit it fat. Now, if you try to hit it 2 inches fat and you're already 2 inches below it, now it equates to 4 inches roughly, okay? So now all of a sudden you see good old Bob at the leave it in the trap because he hit it too fat, okay? So it's not that he didn't swing hard enough, it's because he hit it too fat. He got too much sand in between, like a cushion, a pillow. So what does Bob do? Still didn't go out. I guess I better swing harder. Now he goes, now it's in the next fairway. Now the next time he gets up, he's scared to death to swing at it because he doesn't know what's going to go on, okay? So if you think about trying to hit the ball first, one, hopefully you're not going to take those animal swings, okay?
Hey, be careful then.
So if you do happen to hit it first with a softer swing, yeah, it'll probably be on the back side of the green, but at least you're out. If you don't, in the fairway, when you hit a fat shot, that would be, oh, I chunked it a little, may only get to the front of the green. That would be a pretty good sand shot there, but that's enormously fat in the fairway. Okay, I get students that literally, their divots will start behind their right foot. When's the last time you hit a shot that fat in the fairway? Like never. Okay, so if you try to hit it first, and you do, it's out. If you don't, you'll hit so close to it because your feet are below it, they'll become a good sand shot. And it's eerie how hard it is to hit the ball first when you're trying to. Again, not pick it clean like I did there, but actually hit the ball first, take a divot, okay? And I get my students, because I usually teach sand towards the end of the morning, and I'll go, smell those burgers? Yeah. Well, nobody's going to lunch until you hit that ball first, and they can't do it. It's weird how hard it is. So he's standing there, because Nick Faldo said he used to look at a spot 2 inches behind it and try and hit that spot. Well, I played every sport there is, okay? And I've got pretty darn good hand-eye coordination. I find that hard, because when you swing, what's your eye drawn to? That big white dot. No, look at that. And your eye's doing it. Just look at the ball. That's what it's drawn to, okay? Try and hit what you're looking at, okay? Now, if you want to open the face, you don't need, like you see on TV, 90 degrees loft to go over a 3-foot lip. Okay, if you want to open it, as soon as it turns, stop. That's all you need. All I need is the heel of the club a little bit ahead of the toe. So if the heel gets back there first, it won't dig. If the toe gets there first, you'll see how that digs. Now you got to swing harder. Okay, so all you need is a hair open, but don't let your hands turn and re-grip it. Okay, now from here, again, just take a normal swing like you would. That way you're not changing your swing from all the other swings you did all day. Take your normal swing, try and hit the ball first. It doesn't take a whole lot of power to get it to go out. Okay. Matter of fact, the hard part is how easy you got to swing out of the sand to not go too far.
So the ball placement between your feet is?
I teach all my irons at your sternum, maybe a ball's with the head, but never behind your sternum unless you're trying to do a specialty shot. So play this at it, okay? Because again, you see, I mean, this is higher than 3 feet, but that made it by plenty. And that was a very soft swing. Okay, you don't need it up here, you don't need 90 degrees, because now here, and my hands are forward, I'm de-lofting the club a little bit, so I can't afford to swing real hard. Okay, here, like you see on TV, they got 90 degrees of loft. How hard do you have to swing to make 90 degrees to go 20 feet? So now it's fine if it works, but with that hard swing, if you miss the sand, you just went from being 20 feet from the hole to about 50 yards from the hole. Okay, so I try and teach safety in any part of the game, but especially sand, as in you're not trying to prevent a bad shot like leaving it 10, 12 feet from the hole. You're trying to prevent disastrous shots where you're on the next fairway. That's all. Okay, so just stare at the ball, dig in a little bit, butt end points towards your left shoulder. Now just take a normal swing and try and hit that golf ball. It's actually quite hard.
Shoulder.
What's that?
What did you say about your left shoulder? The butt points at your left.
Oh yeah. Well, I teach. You know, you see some guys nowadays, they're like this at a dress for.
Yeah.
But if you watch them at 8 o'clock, they're in one straight line. So if you drink too much coffee that morning, you might do that. Go out dancing all night with the wife, you might do that. Since it's going to be in a straight line, start in a straight line.
Okay.
Then you can just take it back. That's just what I teach. Okay, I try and eliminate in any swing as many things that possibly go wrong by eliminating them right away. Okay, now some specialty ones. Okay, there's really only 3 bad lies you can get in the sand. Okay, because there's a course up north, real good course, #1 in the world. I grew up around it, super exclusive. Unless they've changed, they used to only rake their traps once a week, so they told me. Because a trap's a trap. It's Pine Valley. Okay? Because you see the pros aiming for traps sometimes when it's too hard to get on the green, especially US Open. Easier to hit out of this that's perfectly manicured than grass this high. Okay? You shouldn't be aiming at something that's called a trap. Okay? So my theory is don't rake traps anymore. You know, if I do that, I can do that for courtesy, but if Tiger or anybody gets in that little hole there, they can get out, no problem. Odds of getting it closer diminished. Okay, you see their caddies rake trap and then do this to finish it off. It's like, wow, why don't you just throw it out? Okay, so if you have this and nobody rakes it, well, yeah, you go looking for Bob in the clubhouse and string them up. Okay, but realistically, the 3 bad lies you can get are so you didn't rake it. Let's get a little deeper than that. And you're in the front footprint. You're in the back of the footprint. And I'll do it back here. The dreaded, oh darn, it just plugs down, okay? Now with this, you don't have to change anything in your swing, okay? Because odds of getting these closed are diminished. You're just trying to get them out, okay? And you don't have to kill it. Only thing I want you to change in these is swinging your arms back 1 more hour. So if you normally go to 10 o'clock, go to 11, 9 or 10, 1 more hour with your hands. Not so you can rip at it, just so that nice smooth swing has 1 more hour to pick up a little speed. That's all you need. Because the reason you need an hour here is this is going to hit this front wall and pop it up a little. So it needs 1 more hour to fly it further. This one, you're going to naturally hit a little further behind it. It's just natural occurrence. But this sand's going to cover the ball, so it's going to come out a little lower and run. So you don't want to rip it all the way to the pin and have it run by. Okay? This one, it's not this sand you have to worry about, because you always hit it fat, but it has to bore through this sand. So it's going to come out with like no spin, sometimes even a hair of overspin. And it's just going to run. So all you do is add an hour. Just add an hour in the backswing. And it comes out lower. This one, there are 2 ways to do this one. This one you can actually turn the toe in a little bit, and it does work, because that will dig and get it back under the ball. Okay? But I don't worry about it. I just do the same shot, add an hour, and let it drop down on the ball. So 3 bad lies, not one of them do I rip at it, because you don't need to. Okay?
Thank you for joining us today at the Reunion Resort in Orlando, Florida.
And we hope to see you soon at a national golf school.